tribal leaders saw that, keeping politics out of that business was key to the success as well. And I think that was one of the very, I think, important lessons was, let our tribal telecommunications company, let it grow, reinvest the resources and reinvest in our tribal personnel to become telecom subject matter experts and training, providing all of that. And that really was I think, a couple of key, lessons that we learned in how successful our telecom has become. With Alluvion, we're working with local governments, local surrounding governmental entities, working with the federal government at times on getting some of these contracts as well. And so we're expanding our presence off the community in a very successful way.
I think that's a role model for many tribal developments that are yet to come, that the community, you start at home, but the need is in the total community, which envelops more than just the reservation or the Indian land. The people that live around, the communities that live around have the same need because they live in the same area that you do. So I really applaud you for having that vision, seeing it, and it'll be interesting to learn from you again how that works out, because that's really, in my mind, the future of these broadband developments in 4 or 5 or 6 years, to see how you've done it and then be able to expand into it.
With Alluvion as a new subsidiary, relatively new, this is allowing us to expand our revenue and to further train, our GRTI personnel. Many of them are community members, learning, just the high-tech, ever expanding, ever, getting more sophisticated, those skill sets. So allowing that, because as you know, that's in our blood. Technology, innovation is in our DNA. And so looking at the successful, evolution of Gila River Telecommunications is really part and parcel of that, of who we are as the Gila River.
I have a question that sort of grows out of that. Now, feels like COVID was just yesterday, and in some ways it was a long time ago. But because you were ahead of the curve, having your own telecommunications, how did that impact your community during COVID?
We saw the need not only for telemedicine, not only when our schools had to go to virtual, remote learning, as well as our critical governmental services. So we had to look at ways where we had to sort of cut our own path during this unprecedented public health emergency, using our federal funds very strategically. We're building out our fiber optic network and making sure that that we had a plan not only for our residences, for our hospital, for our first responders, for our tribal governmental entities. Those early resources allowed us to actually build out faster as well. Where we were looking at, before COVID, we were looking at maybe 5 years. We were building out in about 18 months. That helped us to really speed up the deployment of fiber optic and high-speed internet as well.
Well, I'm sure it helped to have your own telecommunication company as a base. You weren't dependent upon some other third party to do that for you. Sure
they were the subject matter experts. That's who we went to Gila Telecommunications. In fact, as governor, I called a broadband task force with the schools, with our first responders, with our tribal government, and Gila Telecommunications. They were the ones that helped to guide in my decision making exactly as how we were going to address these telecommunication needs to keep our community connected during this public health emergency.
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm so glad you're the first person we're talking to, because your community, again, has kind of shown the way of the impact that having control of your telecommunications future allows you to plan in so many different ways, to react in so many different ways. So that's, thank you for explaining that, because I think a lot of communities need to hear that, because until they have an example like you or your community, it's hard to see.